Yes, hello and welcome. Everybody should join up. Let's start immediately. Please, can you hear me very well? Those on earpiece, can you hear me very well? It's clear, but good. So I'm gonna quickly share my screen so that we can start immediately. So I'm sharing my screen, and in this class we are gonna be looking at file operations. So I'm gonna quickly go to the folder, Python folder, new file. And we are going to be writing files.py. That's what we're going to be looking at, files.py. Then we're able to look at this because Python has function for file operations. If you want to create file, if you want to update it, Python has a way of doing that. And that's what we're going to be looking at. And to do this, we are going to simply start with our normal comment where we will explain what we want to do. So we simply say that Python has function for creating, reading. If you want to read file, you can easily do it with Python. Updating, you can also update a file that you've written before. And finally, it also has a function for deleting a file. If you know what CRUD is, creating, reading, updating, and deleting files. So we're going to demonstrate all this because Python can do this. So to do this, first of all, we should be able to open a file, and that's what we're going to be doing. How do you open a file in Python? You open a file by simply saying, my Igbo name is Ekene, so I'm going to say Ekene file, because I want to open my file. Ekene file equal to, use the keyword open, that's the function you're using, open. Then in bracket, what would you want to be the name of the file? So you remember the Ekene file is actually a variable. That's the variable name that will contain this file that I'm opening. So what do you want to be the name of the file? Let me just use my English name in short form, austin.txt. That's the file I'm creating. The file will be called austin.txt. So once you're done that, simply tell it the mode that you want it to be created. And the mode is writable. You want it to be opened in a way that you can be able to write to it. So once you're done with that, you simply say Control S to save. So if you now come down here to your console and run this code by saying what? Python space files.py. Press the enter key. So if you now look at the right hand side, this place, the Explorer, you will see austin.txt has been created. So that is the file created and it's empty now, but we're going to learn how to write to it. So we can also learn how to get some information concerning the files. So this is what I'm going to do. Get what? Info. So let's try to see how we can get some information on the file that we've created. So how do you do that? Simply say, let's print it out so that we can see it. So what do we want to print about this file? We want to print the name of this file. That's what we want to print, the name of this file. And what file are we looking at? We are looking at Ekene's file, which is the variable that we created, Ekene file. We want to print the name of the file of this Ekene file. So simply say Ekene file.name. So once we say that, if we save this file, we'll come down to run it. We'll see the output. You can see it's telling us there is an error. So invalid syntax Ekene file.name. So while am I getting that error, there has to be a comma. There has to be a comma here. So if I put that comma now and this, then I run it again. So you can see name is austin.txt. You can see it's running. So it's telling us the name of this Ekene file that was created. So I'm going to check out another thing, which is actually to what? Print and ask a question. And what question am I asking? I'm asking, is this file closed or open? Is it closed or open? That's what I want to find out. So how do you do that? So the same thing, simply say a file. But when you say a file, what do you do? Whether a file is closed. So if I save this and come down here, if I save this and come down here and run it, so it's telling me it's closed, is false, because you know the mode I created it with, it was W, meaning that it's writable, it's still open. So when I ask is it closed, it's telling me that it is false. So let me try another, let me get another information about my file by saying print. So what do I want to print out? I want to be able to know if it is in the opening mode. So the mode it is now, is it an opening mode? Since it's not closed, I guess it should be in an opening mode. So the same way, a file dot mode. What mode is it on? So if I press Ctrl S to save and I come back and run this file, you can say it's telling me that the mode is in W mode. That is writable mode, which I've already told us what it is. I'm going to be fast now because I want us to be able to cover everything today so that by tomorrow we can quickly go into the main thing, which is TK enter and doing our project. That's why I'm pretty fast now. So let's cover the basics today. So after this class again, we'll give ourselves 30 minutes and we'll start again. So today is going to be filled with plenty lectures. So take note of that. Immediately after this, get ready to start. So I want to write something into the file. So write to file, that's what we're looking at. So and the file we are considering is a Kene file. So how do you write to a Kene file? You simply say kenefile.write. See, Python syntax, they are so simple because it's just like what you know. So what do I want to write? I want to simply say Ekene is my Igbo name. So Ekene is my Igbo name. That's what I want to write. Ekene is my Igbo name. So you can also write, say Ekene file dot write again. I want to write in another line to it. So what else do I write? I want to write that. I want to write that I am from Anambra State, and that is my state. So after writing, I want to be able to close this by simply saying Ekene file dot close. So that's the function, that's the method that you can use to close. So if I'm done with this, I can simply say Ctrl S to save. So if I come back here and run this by saying python.py space file.py, I should be able to have all this written to my file. So to text to see whether all these things are written to my file, simply go to that austin.txt, open it, click on it to open it. You can see now that I have there, Ekene is my Igbo name. I am from Anambra State, you see? So this is a very big, if you're looking at it, that means you can actually create a file. You can write a simple Python script that creates a file and writes to it. So if you're looking at the area of hacking or affecting what somebody has already done, this is a very special skill that you can use in doing that, but it has to be done in the right way. So that is that. So I quickly get back to my files.py so that will continue. So we've seen how to write to file. So next thing we're going to see is how do you append to a file. So we can create, update, and delete, as well as we can create, read, update, and delete. So let's check out all these. So how do you append to a file that is already there? So the file we are looking at is what? A Kene file. That's the file we are looking at. So we say Kene file equal to What do we want to do? We want to open this very Ekene file. And what is the name of this Ekene file? You all know that the name of Ekene file is what? Austin.what? txt. That's the name of the Ekene file, austin.txt. So we want to first of all open it, and what mode do you want it to be open? We want to open it in such a mode that we can append to it. So that's what we want to do. Open it in such a mode that we can append to it. So once we do that, we can now simply say that this very Ekene file that we opened in a mode that we can append to it, want to now write to it. That means we are adding up more things to what is already there. So what do I write this time around? I'm going to write the stack that I love most, which is also the stack that I'm currently teaching you guys. I also live in Abuja, Nigeria, and I love Python. So that's what I just did now. So I added more things to what I had before. So I'm going to put space here so that it doesn't join up so close to what we had in the first one, since we are just appending. And I told you that once you're done appending or writing to a file, what do you do now? You simply do what? Close. Simply close. And that is the command to close. So if I now save this and quickly run this again, and now go back to my Austin.txt. Oh, I made mistake. The spelling of my Austin, there's a mistake there. So please, it's not gonna write to it since there's a mistake. Here we have Austin. Your first Austin is AUST. So let me just amend this first one by putting S there and saving, so that all of them will now come out at the same time for that first one. Yeah, so I have it now. So this is this first Austin now, well written well. So if I click on it, you see everything. You can see Ekene is an Igbo, it's my Igbo name. I am from Anambra State. I also live in Abuja, Nigeria, and I love Python. So this is the old one I created, so I'm not working on that one again. So let's delete it by simply right-clicking and saying delete, so that we have moved to cycle bin, yes. So I now have only my Austin. So you can see I've appended. Appending simply means updating. You're updating the file that you created initially. So finally, I want us to look at how we can read from a file. That's the last one we are looking at. So we are looking at what? Reading from a file. Read from file. That's what we're going to be looking at. So how do you read from file? Simply mention the variable containing the file, and you simply say open. That's what you say, open. So what very file are you considering opening? You are considering opening what? Austin.txt. That's the test file that we are opening. So if we open, in what mode do we want to open it in? In what mode? We are opening it in a mode that we can do what? To read it. So we say R plus. That is how you can read. So that's the mode we are opening it on. So we can also tell it how many text do you want to read out. So if you do that, you're gonna say text txt equal to what? The file that you're considering, which is what? Ekene file dot read. How many things do you want it to read out? Want it to read out 100. So once you're done reading out, I want to see it on the console. So I simply say what? Print test. Because I want to see it on the console. That's why I did that. So if I come back here and run, it's going to read it and print it out. You see, it has read it and it has printed what is inside our Austin, which is Ekene is my Igbo name. I'm from Anambra State. I live in Abuja and I love Python. So that's about all the operations that we can state for now that we can conduct in file. file operations. So we're going to be signing off now. All our questions, we are going to leave it when I'm done because I want to be pretty fast. So 30 minutes time, join back again so that we look at models and we look at JSON. Thank you. God bless you.
Why? Even me.
Wow, plenty people joining this.